Hello and welcome to today's edition of The Jungle. For those of you who have become completely nocturnal, this is sunlight. Don't burn your eyes out. Today we are going to read, or tonight, for those of you who insist on viewing this at 3 a.m., page 74 to 76. Okay. So they found out that this perfect little house that they thought they'd bought, first of all, wasn't perfect. It was really old and kind of run down. Also, they thought they were going to be paying $12 a month towards owning it. Really, they're leasing it for $12 a month plus $7 interest every month on top of that they hadn't figured into it. And it's not that they're stupid, they didn't read English, and the contract was written on purpose to try and scam people so that the company that sells the houses can get the house back and resell it to somebody else. So, this has put them in a great financial crisis because they budgeted for $12 a month, not $12 a month plus the interest of $7 a month. That's like several more people having to get a job. So, Ona has gone out to find a job. So Ona set out that day to hunt for work, and at night Maria came home saying that she had met a girl who had a friend that worked in one of the wrapping rooms at Brown's, and might get a place for Ona there. Only, the forelady was the kind that takes presents. It was no use for anyone to ask her for a place unless at the same time they slipped a $10 bill into her hand. Jurgis was not in the least surprised at this now. He merely asked what the wages of the place would be. So, negotiations were opened, and after an interview, Ona came home and reported that the forelady seemed to like her and had said that, while she wasn't sure, she thought she might be able to put her at work sewing hit covers on hams, a job at which she could earn as much as $8 to $10 a week. That was a bid, so Maria reported, after consulting her friend, and then there was an anxious conference at home. The work was done in one of the cellars, and Jurgis did not want Ona to work in such a place. But then it was easy work, and one could not have everything. So, in the end, Ona, with a $10 bill burning a hole in her palm, had another interview with the forelady. Meantime, Teta Elżbieta had taken Stanislaus to the priest and gotten a certificate to the effect that he was 2 years older than he was. And with it, the little boy now sallied forth to make his fortune in the world. It chanced that Durham had just put in a wonderful new lard machine, and when the special policeman in front of the Time station saw Stanislaus and his document, he smiled to himself and told him to go, pointing up a flight of stairs, which took him into a room lighted by electricity, with the new machines for filling lard cans at work in it. The lard was finished on the floor above, and it came in little jets, like beautiful, wriggling, snow-white snakes of unpleasant odor. There were several kinds and sizes of jets, and after a certain precise quantity had come out, each stopped automatically, and the wonderful machine made a turn and took the can under another jet, and so on, until it was filled neatly to the brim and pressed tightly and smoothed off. To attend to all this and fill several hundred cans of lard per hour, there were necessary 2 human creatures, one of whom knew how to place an empty lard can on a certain spot every few seconds, and the other of whom knew how to take a full lard can off a certain spot every few seconds and set it upon a tray. And so, please hold. And so, after little Stanislaus had stood gazing timidly about him for a few minutes, a man approached him and asked what he wanted, to which Stanislaus said, "Job?" Then the man said, "How old?" And Stanislaus answered, 16? Once or twice every year, a state inspector would come wandering through the packing plants asking a child here and there how old he was. And so the packers were very careful to comply with the law, which cost them as much trouble as was now involved in the bosses taking the document from the little boy, glancing at it, and then sending it off to the office to be filed away. Then he set someone else at a different job and showed the lad how to place a lard can every time the empty arm of the remorseless machine came to him. And so was decided in the place of the universe of little Stanislaus, and his destiny till the end of his days. Hour after hour, day after day, year after year. It was fated that he should stand upon a certain square foot of floor from 7 in the morning until noon, and again from 12:30 till 5:30, never making a motion and thinking never a thought, save for the setting of lard cans. In summer, the stench of the warm lard would be nauseating, and in winter, the cans would all but freeze to his naked little fingers in the unheated cellar. Half the year, it would be dark as night when he went into work, and dark as night again when he came out. And so, he would never know what the sun looked like on weekdays. And for this, at the end of the week, he would carry home $3 to his family, being his pay at the rate of 5 cents per hour, just about his proper share of the total earnings of the 1.75 million of children who are now engaged in earning their livings in the United States, when this book was written in the early 1900s. Just to follow up with Stanislaus, because I don't know how far in the book we're going to get before we run out of time this year. Stanislaus is the one who ends up, well, several things happen to him. His ears freeze off one day. His friend's ears actually get broken off and they freeze off, and then he gets really, really too cold as well. And then he gets terrified of walking home by himself, so he has to wait for Jurgis every day. But Jurgis has to work even longer hours, and so one day he falls asleep in the corner of the killing beds after he's had some beer that he stole from the working men, and Jurgis doesn't know that he's there waiting for him, and so he gets locked in at night, and the rats eat him alive. Okay, have a lovely evening.